By the end of today's webinar, you'll know whether your exercises are building your vocal bridge or burning it down. I'm Darcy D, your virtual voice coach. In our last webinar, we answered one of the biggest questions singers ask: what is mixed voice? We discovered that mixed voice isn't another register at all. It's a coordination, a balanced relationship between chest voice and head voice. Today we're taking the next step, because once you understand what mixed voice is, the next question becomes, how do I build it? And unfortunately, many singers spend years practicing exercises that actually work against them. Today I'm going to show you how to recognize the difference. I call the transition between chest voice and head voice the Great Divide. Imagine standing on one side of a canyon. Chest voice is here, head voice is over here. Your job isn't to jump across, your job is to build a bridge. Every successful repetition of a good and correct exercise adds another plank, another piece of steel, another concrete form. Every unsuccessful repetition removes one. Eventually, you either have a bridge you can trust or one that keeps collapsing beneath you. Today we're going to learn how to build that bridge. This may be the single most important lesson I share today. Every exercise, every warm-up, every scale, every repetition does one of two things. It either builds the bridge or burns the bridge. There really isn't a neutral. Your voice is always adapting, it's always learning. The only question is, what is it learning? What habits are you creating? If you are properly building the bridge, you have better balance, better coordination, your transitions are much easier, and your habits become much stronger. If you are burning the bridge, your habits are poor, there's extra tension involved, the transitions seem really difficult, and you're creating bad habits. Which one are you? The bottom line, if you teach your voice balance, balance becomes easier. If you teach your voice tension, tension becomes automatic. Your voice simply becomes better at whatever you repeatedly ask it to do. That's why practicing harder isn't always practicing smarter. Sometimes the answer isn't more repetitions, sometimes it's better repetitions, the correct repetitions, the best exercise. If this is already making sense, I'd really appreciate a quick like. It helps YouTube share these webinars with more singers. And if you'd like to keep learning with me, consider subscribing. I release a new webinar every couple of weeks. Now here's where things become a little more interesting. The very same exercise can build one singer's bridge while burning another's. That's because every singer has different habits, different tendencies, different coordinations, different challenges. Let's take a look at 4 common voice types. Now keep in mind, these are not set in stone. These are merely examples of some exercises that would be of disadvantage to a voice type or would be a benefit to a voice type. So if you are a no chest voice singer, your tends to is to not have a connection in chest voice, and your chest voice connection when sung sounds light and airy. There's no real connection. Then exercises you may want to stay away from are we and no. These are just a couple of examples, because we. There's really nothing in this exercise to provide that connection at chest voice that we're looking for. It's not going to build your voice. And no. It may not, that these soft consonants may not have the ability to find that connection for you. That's not to say that eventually you can't. It's just to say that in this tends to, this is most likely what's happening. And good exercises to use for someone with no chest voice to build through the transition would be something with a hard consonant, or what we call the ugly ah. So hard consonants like B and G stop airflow momentarily, allowing the vocal cords to reset. And the E vowel is a very good vowel for bringing the vocal cords together. So the combination of the hard consonant with the E makes really beep, 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 simply saying each word. Switch to the G. Geek, 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 geek. Now we have this connection. And it might feel like if you're a no chest voice singer that you have to really work at finding that connection, because we're using the lateral cricoarytenoid muscle to bring those vocal cords together. And if that's a muscle that you're not using, it's going to feel like work. And finally, the ugly ah, which is an exercise that's designed to find that connection. It's quite ugly. It can feel quite bratty or munchkin-like. With your tongue out, you say as short as humanly possible, ah. With the tongue out, that larynx can't lift. We find the connection. It's short, so you don't have to hold it. You won't fatigue as fast. You can walk through the transition and repeat. Hopefully your no chest voice tends to will begin to fade. If you are a pulled chest voice singer, that means your tends to is to get heavy. You have a nice connection in chest voice, but on your approach to and through the transition, you want to stay heavy. There's no handoff to head voice muscle, and you tend to pull. And it begins to sound like a squeezed yell. For singers with this tends to, vocables like mum and gug may not be appropriate just yet because they're going to enforce that pulled position. Mum, so mum, 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 mum. It's going to stay heavy. Even with that soft consonant M. Ma, 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 it's the wide vowel ah that's going to enforce the pull. And then gug, 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 gug. It's really short, which, is effective in staying short, but gug is still going to encourage the pulled position. So to build the transition for a pulled chest voice tends to, we're going to use exercises that really encourage release. H-O-O, for example, on a descending 5-tone scale, we're going to hoo, 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 hoo. And so there's really nothing to grab, nothing to grip, nothing to press. So it's going to be easier to release from that pulled chest position. Likewise, woof. Now, woo, woo, ooh, to an F. The F can't be gripped. That would turn into a V. So woof, 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 woof. It might burn breath a little bit faster, but there's definitely no grip, which means it lessens the chance of pulling. So these are examples of good exercises to build the transition for a chest puller. Flipped voice. Now, flipped voice is often caused from allowing the larynx to lift too high. It could be that the singer doesn't have enough strength to hold the vocal cords closed, and we get to a certain part of the register or at a certain volume, and it releases and lets go. So there's no sustained release from chest voice to head voice. So even with a soft consonant like M and the wide vowel ah, ma, 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 it's going to start to flip if you're a flipper. Ma, 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 ma. There's no habituated muscle memory to keep that connection or to stabilize the larynx. And even on a me, this could happen to you. Now there's other vocables that will show signs of the burned flip voice, but these again are just examples. So for a flip voice singer, what we want to do is we want to stabilize the larynx, and we want to ensure that the vocal cords are closing so we can habituate a connected tone. So some good build exercises, straight to the ugly ah. So we can find that. Now, notice the flip voice and no chest voice can share the same remedy. Now, dopey is it when we lower our larynx. So if we used a dopey stance, the larynx comes down, and that means even if it starts to come up, it's only going to neutralize, so we're probably not going to flip. So if we used a dopey gug, 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 the G is stopping airflow momentarily, allows the vocal cords to reset. The dopey helps us balance the larynx, and soon we get into, and eventually through the transition, connected tone, albeit slightly dopey. Now, likewise, if we used a nay sound, we could use a slightly bratty voice, which just locks the larynx into a slightly raised position, nay, and we can say each word, nay, 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 and that will start to produce a connected tone. It also starts to produce some coordination and balance because nay is a diphthong. There's two vowels, a, e, a. So we're getting some coordination built in there as well. Keep in mind that the goal for every voice type is balance. Each and every voice type strives to become a blended voiced singer, a mixed voice singer. Eventually, every voice type arrives here at balanced voice, blended voice, mixed voice, every singer's goal. The great divide has been crossed, but now we must strengthen and habituate that balance. Notice I didn't say perfected. Even balanced singers continue building. They're developing flexibility, coordination, control, consistency, dynamics, intensity, adding emotional value. We're going from exercise to song. The ability to add more volume, intensity, and power comfortably is the goal. The bridge never stops improving. Now, there are some tools that almost every singer or voice type can benefit from, and these tools contribute to strengthening a balanced voice. They allow us to find the connection, they allow us to release, they allow us to balance all of our concentrations, airflow, vocal cord closure, laryngeal position, and vowel shaping. Some of these tools I like to call universal bridge building tools, because in and of themselves, they promote balanced connection and a balanced handoff from chest voice to head voice. So we can start with an SOVT, which is a semi-occluded vocal tract exercise, which could simply be your tongue on your bottom teeth and you fill your cheeks with air. You can be somewhat aggressive, and it tends to balance the larynx. It tends to balance vocal cord closure. We can take that a step further and add a straw. Sing through the straw. It extends the vocal tract by the length of the straw and allows us to balance further and be a little bit more aggressive to find these connections. Lip bubble is another one that's really of benefit to all singers. This is a great warm-up exercise. It's a great rebalance, resetting exercise. Again, it has to be done correctly so the teeth aren't clenched and there's air coming into the mouth. It's more of an sound. The tongue is touching bottom gum, bottom teeth. If the lips are bubbling consistently, the vocal cords have everything they need to vibrate. And then, of course, if you can't do a lip bubble, there's the tongue roll. The tip of the tongue, it's a resistance. It's helping us balance. We can feed the voice in a balanced way that helps us find the connections and keep that connection and habituate that connection. Then we can use another non-articulate like the NG sound, like hung. Really good exercise for finding a balanced connection. Also, we look at a universal builder would be something we do with our larynx, whether we go dopey like the gug 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 gug, or slightly bratty like nay 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 nay. This teaches us that we can raise our larynx slightly, we can lower our larynx, and we can stay neutral. And then with the singing stance, we'll use this dopey or bratty imposition at will and as liberally as we need to find and keep the connection, to maintain balanced resonance. So really great tools. Now, these aren't magic exercises. They simply help remove unnecessary tension while encouraging better coordination. They encourage better balance. Think of them as construction equipment. They help build the bridge more efficiently. They can be used to warm up and or reset the voice. Whenever I'm choosing exercises, I follow a simple process I call MAP, or MAP. And how this works, first we model. We choose the correct exercise that best addresses our tends to. We use that exercise as correctly as possible. There is a plethora of exercises to choose from based on our ability. We are not limited to the few that I showed in the demonstration. Next, we assess or reassess the remedy that we used to apply to our tens to, and we ask ourselves these questions. Did the voice improve? Did balance increase? Did the tends to start to disappear? Did the transition become easier? If not, don't keep repeating the same thing expecting a different result. Use the baseball example. 3 strikes and you're out, or in this case, the exercise is out. Choose another model, choose another exercises. Again, there's a plethora of exercises in the app for each voice type. You do the ones that work for you, and eventually you'll be able to do them all. Then we perfect and progress. Once you've found something that works, repeat it. Don't move on just because you can do it now. Let the exercise do what it's designed to do. Build consistency, develop muscle memory. Then gradually challenge the coordination. You can advance to more coordinated, more complicated exercises. And that's how lasting change happens. Map it out. I want you to notice something. The goal isn't simply higher notes. It isn't singing louder. It isn't strictly more power. Those things may come, but they're not the initial destination. The goal is a voice that's balanced, connected, accessible, reliable, free, confident, and consistent. It's very balanced. When those qualities begin working together, mixed voice stops feeling like something you have to search for. It simply becomes the way you sing. This is exactly why Virtual Voice Coach begins with a voice analysis. Instead of guessing, I identify your voice tends to first, then recommend exercises designed specifically for what your voice needs, because the fastest path to improvement is using the correct exercise at the correct time for your voice. As we get ready to wrap up today, I'd like to leave you with one final thought. Every time you practice, you're teaching your voice something. Every warm-up, every scale, every song, every repetition, you are either reinforcing balance or reinforcing imbalance. You're either building your bridge or you're burning it. So before you begin your next practice session, ask yourself one simple question. Will today's practice build my bridge? If the answer is yes, you're moving toward a more reliable, more confident, more connected voice. If not, change the exercise. Not because you're working harder, but because you're choosing to work smarter. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Darcy D. I'll see you in the next webinar. And until then,
Sing for yourself.